Hey guys, welcome back to Paracord Planet. I've got a fun Easter project for you today, and for our regular viewers, this video is going to be a little bit different because these directions are meant to accompany a kit that we are selling in our store. But if you have these materials laying around already, you're welcome to join in. So in this kit, you should have received some white Paramax cord to construct our basket, some white microcord to wrap our handles, and then some accent colors to shred into our grass. In addition to those supplies, you'll need scissors, a lighter, and a small piece of tape to hold your project down. And with that, let's get started. To start off, we can set aside those colored accents and the microcord, and we're just going to be dealing with our Paramax. So go ahead and find both ends, and we'll trace that back to the middle of the cord. We want to tape this loop down to the table. And that's going to hold it in place as we set up our framework. This cord here you can set aside for now. We're going to be dealing with just this end right here. So we'll start by making one big loop, like that. Make sure you twist your cord as you go so that it lays flat on our work surface. And it should cross over our standing end right here. Then we're going to go back across the entire thing to the left. Twist and leave a loop right there. Then we're going to go and tuck it underneath this bottom cord right here. So hold your whole project down and reach up through there and pull your cord through. Like that. So this cord should be going underneath. We're going to loop around again to the left, and this time we're going to go underneath this end that we taped down. So just tuck it underneath and pull your cord through. And we're going to lay that right over the top of this loop here. And then lastly, we're going to weave across the entire mat, starting with an over this cord right here. So over this loop, under this second one, over this third cord, and then across this loop here, underneath this cord, over the next, and under that final loop. Pull all the cord through until we have these 5 petals of our mat. So before we move on, let's tighten this down just a little bit so we have some extra slack to work with on this end. So taking that first cord that goes through, we're just going to pull that through the loops a little bit, shrink down each of those loops all the way through the knot. There we go. Now we're going to take that same end that we just wove, and we're going to follow the cord through the entire knot again. We're going to make a total of 4 of these passes. The next 2 after this one will be with our other end. So we'll take that end, and where this cord first goes over, entering into our knot, we're going to go over as well. Where it goes under, we're going to follow it right underneath, and just run it all the way through the knot. Under this one, over this one, under here. We've made it once through a knot, so we're going to tighten down that loop on our left until we now have a total of 6 petals to our mat. We're just going to continue with that until we double up all of our cords. We don't want to cross over our cord as we go. We want it to stay on the same side through the entire knot. So following to the inside, going under when the first one goes under, and going over when it goes over. If you run out of cord halfway through doubling up your mat, don't worry, we just have to tighten it down a little bit more before we move on. You have plenty of cord for your project. It's just this initial framing it up stage that we sometimes run out of cord. So again, we'll just tighten everything down, make our loops a little bit smaller. We can tighten down both loops at the same time here. And once it gets down to those single ones, just keep on feeding it through. Now we should have enough cord to finish doubling that up. So now that we have all of our cords doubled up, except this last loop, we're going to follow that around for the final pass, and where it turns into 3 cords, we're just going to tuck it underneath and leave it there. So it can just hang out like that. We can untape the other end at this point and find the very end of it, and we're going to be doing the same thing going the opposite direction through the knot. So this one lays right alongside this cord. We're just going to follow it through the knot the entire way, doing it the same as before, making sure that it doesn't cross over. So we'll follow right through here, following our over-unders, pull all of our slack through. Just like that. And we'll go through the entire knot until we have it 4 wide the entire way through. So just like before, we ran out of cord here, so we just need to tighten it down a little bit further before we move on. That works easiest if we start on this end, because then we can tighten the inside loop before we tighten the outside loop. That keeps our cords from getting tangled. When you're done, you should have a big white mat that looks just about like this. The next phase is turning this into a bowl, so that's going to involve a lot of tightening. It generally takes me about 3 rounds to tighten this into a bowl. So we're going to start with that short end again. That forms our inside loops. So I like to just form it into a bowl as is, and then that kind of shows me how tight I need to tighten down our cords. But don't go the whole way your first time around, or you're bound to have a bunch of tangled cords. So just begin by following that cord through. So this one right here goes through to this loop next, so we'll just pull that through as we kind of hold it into a bowl. We're gradually going to get more and more slack on that loop. So after our first round of tightening, it's starting to look kind of bowlish. At this point, I'm going to turn it inside out, and that's going to allow us to hide our ends inside. So I'm going to pull this one back actually too, so that that rests inside. And to the outside, it looks like 4 cords and 4 cords, but we've got our 2 ends hidden right in here. So once it's fully tightened down, it should look about like this, with both of our ends ending in the middle. We can at this point cut this end here. You want a good pair of scissors to cut through this Paramax. It's pretty thick stuff. And then we'll just take a lighter and melt the end just a little bit. And those can hang out down there, and they're not going to cause any trouble. Then we're going to take our leftover Paramax and thread it through right here. Just leave a little bit of an end, and then fold over our cord into a handle. Directly opposite there, you've got another set of loops, and we're going to feed it in right below that one. So we can cut it down to size now, and then decide on how long of a handle you want. Then we'll take that first end, and we're going to bind these 2 cords together with our microcord. And with about 1.5 feet of our micro 90, we're going to make what's called a common whipping. We do have a separate video on that topic that we'll link in the description. So to start off, we'll take our end and fold it back into a U, like that, and lay that right alongside our Paramax cord. Then we're going to take our longer end and begin wrapping around all 4 cords. We're going to be moving towards that end with the fold. We want to wrap these as tightly as we can. After about 5 or 6 wraps, we want to take the end and feed it through that loop. Then while holding onto that end, we want to pull on this other end, and that's going to tighten down the top loop, anchoring both cords into place. On the other side, we'll make our handle the right length and do another whipping on that side. After we're done, we can clip off the excess Paramax as well. All right, so our basket is all done at this point. We've got our handle on there and our ends inside. So all that's left to do now is to grab our accent pieces and turn them into our grass for the middle. And we'll do this by taking out the inner strands. We won't need those. You may have to cut both ends of your cord to get those out. But then once we're done, we're just going to cut those into 2-inch sections. So then we'll take one of our pieces and fluff up the end a little bit with our finger, turn it around and do the same thing on the other end. And that's going to allow us to just grab a couple strands and pull them out of the paracord. And then we'll do that for all 3 colors. So there's our finished Easter basket, all ready for an Easter egg hunt. I plan to use this one on my desk as a candy basket. If you guys enjoyed this project and you want to keep going with paracord crafting, be sure to check out the rest of our channel where we've got lots more tutorials for you. In the description to each video, we provide you with links to find the supplies that you need for that project. In our store, you'll find over 600 colors of paracord, as well as lots of accompanying hardware and other supplies. You can also find our products on Amazon, but we do provide our first-time web store customers 15% off with coupon code YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.